What is up, my guys? Been a long... Oh, fuck. How the fuck am I going to set this up? Damn it. Hopefully that's good. It's been a long minute since I have done one of these. The song I've been working on for quite a long minute. And ended up scrapping it all. And then now I got this beautiful masterpiece. I am comfortable to show. It's not done. I still got to do like an ending. Because right now it's at like... I don't know how to check this. It's like a minute, 20 seconds something. So I want to try to get at least maybe a minute and 50 seconds. I think that's good enough for all them YouTube short brain people that have no attention span. But yeah, did a lot of things that I normally don't do in, like when I record, for instance, like I got like a little piano and some strings, just kind of help, cause this song is like, it's slow, but I kind of turned it fast. And I kind of just wanted that lead guitar to get filled in more with like some more, just like more ambient, but here you go. This part, I'm going to show you in a little bit how I got that sound for the harmony lead. And this is Luigi's Mansion from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It's that got some sick ass blast beats going on. Rhythm guitars are doing some tremolo. Got some sick ass, like, I don't know, like power metal type groove going on with the drums. Hell yeah. So first things first, I'm going to show off is this cool harmony guitar part that the way like I did it is I have my harmony and then I have my DI. So the DI, I guess I'm just going to copy that over. But the DI essentially is just get put into DSP archetype Gojira. And then with that, I have the reverb with the shine setting or shimmer setting on. So it creates this, let's see. That like higher kind of pitch of shimmer is pretty much what it is. And then, hold on, I'm gonna have to go back because I have it automated so it turns off. So let me go, I think it's all the way down here. I think it was mode. Oh, shoot. Delay. Oh, yeah, reverb mode. So, yeah, so this I just have it automated in. So you can see after I get done with this kind of atmospheric noise, and then it gets into the more kind of quicker parts. Doesn't really need that ambient noise to clutter up and get muddy sounding. So what I'm going to do is just loop this part. And then I'll turn on and off what is going on. So it kind of has like a whistly tune to it, or tone. Which I like, because it's subtle. But when in put context with the mix, Because with the phaser also, I have a phaser on, as well as a chorus to kind of add more. Because, you know, like Luigi's Mansion has like that weird kind of like chorusy, like wowy kind of like if you have like a wah pedal tone to it. So I wanted to make it more amplified with the reverb. And then it kind of pushes it in the back, and then also kind of fills in like the stereo image as well. So because this is panned off, as you can see, it's panned off to the right, but you hear it off to the left, like you hear it everywhere. So it helps fill in that noise, but it's not too much to where it gets like drowned out. And then this is the amp itself. Just pick a default, and then I kind of just change the settings, drop the mids a little bit. You know, I think I reduced the gain just to kind of help it. So it's not so like muddy. So like the pick attack and the notes come out more articulate, more so like towards like the end over here. But yeah, that's what I do. Went with the harmony. What the fuck is it? Yeah. And then over here, I pretty much turned all of that stuff off. So this is just pretty much, it goes from like this with all the effects on to the effects off, which is pretty just simple going on there. And then one thing that I did new with the bass, like what I usually do, is I'll have the I record with the DI, and then I'll record both the same. And then what I usually do is I'll high pass filter 100 hertz. And then with the bass sub, I counter it. So I low pass filter to 100 hertz. So that way you're able to mix both the high end and then the sub of the bass differently. So what I do with the bass, or used to do, is I would try to make that more clean and compress it and limit it, kind of like how it is here. So I have a multi-band compressor at 100 hertz, so it brings down the lows. Because on bass, the higher you go, you don't really get that rumbly low. And then the lower you get, it kind of gets like a little bit too overwhelming, especially like depending on the acoustics and the resonance of the bass and the bass amplifier that you have. Sometimes it'll resonate like a certain note more than others. So I'll just high pat or multi-band compress the low end as well. I used to have a limiter. I think I put it on the main bass channel, but that's how I used to do it, is have double recording, but like kind of the same input. So like all these top notes or recording would be the bottom. But then what I used to do back in the day was I would create, since I'm the one that's creating it, I essentially just copied all the bass notes that I had and made it into a sine wave. So you get a nice clean low end and you don't get that mud, and it's consistent. So this is kind of like what I get from here. That's without it. And then with the sine wave, it helps reinforce that bass sound, and it's more consistent as well. So like his bass strings, they'll flop all the way around. So in order to get that just consistent low end without the muddiness, the best way to do it is just high pass 100 hertz on your bass. And then on your sub bass, just mimic or just copy the same notes that you're coming up here with a sine. So this one, I have this oscillator. I think it's an oscillator. It's a Waves Element, but it has a sine piano, so it's as clean as you can get. So, and then with that, I just high pass all the way up. I duck down about 67 hertz, depending on where the kick drum main frequency is, so that way the bass doesn't interfere with the thump of the kick drum. But that's something cool that I've done back in the day that I haven't like done in a long while. So, and then with it, let's see. I'll just go back to the beginning, and then I'll mute the bass, and then I'll bring it back in. Because at first I wasn't going to have the bass, but then it's just like, just to kind of help copy the main, the acoustic part with just like the lower frequency. Just helps just reinforce and just makes it sound so much better. Makes it sound fuller. And then like, with those like ghostly kind of like flowy notes of it, like, of the harmony, I had trouble because it's like, if you don't have, so let me solo this. Put this on loop. And then I'll show you essentially like what I had. Hopefully it lets me do it. Because sometimes when you automate, it doesn't. So I'm going to turn all these off. That's essentially what I was working with. And then also on my guitar, I was using the Schecter. And I think it was the neck or the middle position. And I have my tone knob turned down. So I got as the least amount of percussiveness from it going in. And then I just hit it with the EQ. And then with my DI, of course, my amp plugin. And then a little bit more EQ coming out. And then I think I don't have any compression going in. But with, I think the most part of that ghostly kind of like flow coming in is from the DI because of all the effects that I have in here. Because normally I wouldn't do this because it's like you don't get as much clarity from the guitar itself. Because I mean, it's like 100% reverb, a little bit of delay. The chorus is about halfway and you got a phaser on there too. But since I have this being the main effects, and this pretty much no effects, just with the tone knob turned up on the guitar, so it essentially just high passes all the higher end of the guitar. You get more of that percussiveness, but then with the sustain and the just eerie kind of ambience you get from all these effects that I threw in there. And then let me go over, I'm gonna go over like kind of like how I do the acoustics. I do like the way that I recorded it. This is with I don't know what brand of acoustic that I have, but it's a nylon acoustic, finger picked. Sounds really amazing. So first thing going in, usually what I do is on my acoustic rhythm bus, I'll usually just add a slight compression. So, I mean, the most I'm getting is maybe like -3, but it's usually hover around, you know, -1, maybe I'll peak over -2 dB. So right there is -3, but it kind of keeps it, all the transients and the sustain of the acoustic guitars just kind of help balloon it down. And then just mild EQ. Usually I don't added EQ. Usually I'll use subtractive EQ. So that's when you're cutting out frequencies. But this one, so this is before and after. You can see it's like, first thing is noticeable is the low end. So first thing I did was you have a lot of your resonant frequencies kind of hanging out. What I've seen on this recording that I did is about 200 hertz. So I cut that out. And then I want a little bit more of the finger picking, which I found on this is about 2,900 hertz. And then just a little bit of air on the top end at usually 10K and 9K here. And then I just high pass filter all of the low end rumble that I don't need. Usually around 100 hertz on a guitar you can get away with, because the lower end you have the kick drum hover around like 60 hertz and then your bass is around 100 hertz anyways to, sub frequency. And then on the actual channels itself, I think I just pretty much just copy and pasted, but is the Waves Kramer HLS EQ. They have an acoustic guitar channel on here, so or preset, just set and forget. Sometimes I will change the high end depending, but I'll usually use this. Kind of helps, especially like with the bass too. I didn't even show that, but on the bass I have the same thing, but it helps it like just sound much more fuller, brings it out a little bit more. And then the next thing I had is just the Waves SSL G channel. For what I know, is it adds a little bit more mid-range, which helps, you know, the guitars kind of poke out. And then I do another cut at around 350 hertz, just a low cut, 4.5 dB and a little bit more of that 8K range, you know, the higher just air, and then a little bit more of that pick, and then high pass filter, you know, as much as you need to without killing the fundamental note of the acoustic guitar. And then with acoustic guitar, I don't really high pass, because it's like, unlike electric guitar where you get a lot of like the harsh like fizziness from like the amp itself, you kind of want that liveliness, that air coming through, as long as like your room sounds good. But this is, I mean, it was like a foot away from my guitar, so it doesn't really pick up that much room. And then with this, after the EQ, I have this reverb, which again, I just set the wet 45, so only like 45% of the actual sound is getting affected by the reverb, but it adds a lot. But you still get that percussiveness, that the tone from the guitar without it overpowering it, and then it adds that space as well. Sounds pretty dang good. And then with the lead, this was 2 different takes, one with the nylon, and I think I kind of have the same kind of EQ that I have here, except with this, I did do the archetype Gojira, turn the amp off, but what I do have is the reverb with the shimmer, and then a little bit of delay from it. So this kind of adds that more like atmospheric kind of like shimmery tone. I like it. It sounded good in this song. And then the steel acoustic guitar, I think kind of the same thing, just maybe I EQ'd it just a little bit different. But again, amp turned off with the shimmer. And then this one, I have 2 different, this is an H compressor. Should set the strings. They didn't have an acoustic, but it helps kind of like with like a punchiness. So, let me see, I'm gonna turn it off. It just makes it sound, to me, it gives a little bit more punch, so you get a lot of that staccato sound that pokes over the rest, because it is like very ambient sounding, but then it helps kind of just helps it poke out of the mix. And that compressor, I only use it like a handful of times, like not really too much. And then let's go over rhythm guitar real quick. So this one, I had to automate the volume a lot, because this part right here, I'll let you listen. I just had to raise it up, so usually, I mean, I guess I had to raise this up here too. This one I had to drop it a little bit just so that it didn't interfere with the lead guitar, and it kind of drowned out the drums a little bit too. And since there wasn't really much going on, it just kind of just fills out that noise, and just dropped a little bit. But right here, I had to raise a little bit more, and then right here, I had to raise up a lot more, because it's really like the only thing that's playing, you know, other than like the ending part of the lead guitar itself. But which it's playing the same notes as up here anyways. So I wanted this just to be a little bit louder. Go over my effects chain. So this, first things first, whoops. I got rhythm. I do DIs as well. Same thing, archetype Gojira. I love it. It sounds good, sounds clean, sounds heavy. And this one, usually I'll create my own kind of tone with it, but I think I was just lazy on this one, so I was just like, let me see what they got. But this one, I think I did change the EQ a little bit. I think I might have raised some mids, and then I don't have an overdrive in it, just kind of just help fill out the lower end that my actual amp kind of lacked. Excuse me. And then this one is it's kind of the same, or I guess it's riffing alone, but it's different amp, different sound. I think this one's less heavy, a little bit more tight, maybe a little bit low end in it. This one I did have an overdrive just because, give it a little bit more of that high end, like kind of just like that present, or the high end like saturation almost. And I didn't even know I had a reverb on here, which is weird. I didn't even know this turned on, so I'm gonna turn that off. That's crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much just it. I mean, there's no EQ. I think the Actually, yeah, I didn't even EQ the main rhythm. Let me see. I might need to clean this up, just like a little like high pass filter or something like that. Whoops. Not much. It just gets rid of all that low end rumble. And then the high end, just on and off, just see what it does. Just gets rid of all that high end fizz. They just peak up a little bit around 2400. It doesn't take much, just not even a decibel of gain to that frequency, but you can see how much it articulates, or like how much high end kind of pokes up. You don't need much. There you go. Easy as that. This one might need a little bit more. I can hear like the low end rumble. See, just helps tighten it up. See, all that high end fizz just gets rid of it. And then when I do subtractive, I try not to subtract out the same. I mean, it's the same guitar. It's my PRS 7-string, but different amp. But if you end up like subtracting, like just copy and paste, you end up subtracting. So if you take this, like, yeah, it's only like a dB of gain reduction. But if you take two of them, it's essentially you're cutting out like 3 dB of that noise. So, I mean, it's just, I tried doing just like additive and all that stuff, just kind of just a little bit different. Not even a dB. And with that small amount of like subtractive EQ, essentially, I mean, if you listen, you have a lot of like, at least on my right hand or my right ear, that amplifier, there's a lot of that fizz that didn't get cut out from that, just that high pass filter alone helps clean it up, as well as those low subtractive EQs as well. Helps tighten it up, gets rid of that low end rumble. So a little bit goes a long way, is what I'm trying to say. And use your ears, listen in context with the mix. So right there, the guitar pokes out more over the bass than without it. Then the bass, essentially, it's not even just like the bass guitar, it's just all those low frequencies that I cut out. It helps clean up the low end. So if you have like a lot of just mud and the bass isn't really like getting sounding clean, then it could just be your rhythm guitars or whatever. It could be interferencing with the low end frequency. And then with this is my PV 6505 Plus amp. This is with the SM57 just plugged directly into my interface. So right around there, I don't know, I think it might have been like some amp noise I might have missed. And I think I'm gonna do the same thing here. Yeah, it sounded a little bit honky in that lower mid range. And along with this is usually always around the 4,000 hertz. You get this whistly tone. Just cut it out. And I didn't even high pass this stuff either. I think what I might have done is, I might not even finish the finish EQ on this. But yeah, this is generally what my rhythm guitar sounds like. I may poke up a little bit depending on how I recorded it, how much of the low end is getting brought up. Just helps it sound a little bit more cleaner. And you don't get much high end like kind of fizz as you do with these the VST amp simulators. For whatever reason, they just get like a lot of digital fizz going on in there. But yeah, and then that goes into my JST bus glue guitars. I don't have any brightness. I just had a little bit more of like saturation, just taming down just the guitars a little bit, because it's distortion. So Amanda doesn't really like need much like compression, because I mean the whole thing's getting compressed. So then it's just 50% compression, 50% mix. So only half of the source, half the input's getting compressed. And then same thing that I did with the bass guitar, just bypass this multi-band compressor, bypass the 3 frequencies except for the low mid one. And I just have that hovering around right here. It's 265 hertz. So what this essentially does is you could, like, if you're having like a light, especially like when you're palm muting, you get like, it just naturally just increases the low end, like rumble. So instead of cutting that out and essentially just killing all of your fundamental frequency and the tone of your guitar, what you can do is just have this multi-band compressor, set it to whatever frequency is being affected the most when you're palm muting or whatever, whenever the low end kind of rumble kind of happens. And when, let me see, so right. So you can see when you hit the palm mute, it just adds that little bit more thump, like the woofiness. But with this on, essentially eliminates that. And then when it goes back, and then when it goes back to just like the normal notes, like over here, you can see it's not really being affected by it. Or right here, it's not really dipping down as much. And then when you see when the palm mutes happen, that's when the multi-band compressor engages and essentially just brings down all that extra low end, just like that woofiness from the palm muting. But you don't lose your tone. You don't lose like the balls from your guitar. All right, let's see. A couple more things I'm going to run through real quick. So right here, I have a piano part just kind of helping reinforce the leads. And I kind of got this idea from, I think it was Polyphia or it was Dance Gavin Dance. I think they add the same thing to help reinforce, but it's not really taking over the tone of the guitar, but it kind of just helps fill in a lot of the stuff that's missing. So I'll kind of A/B it. I mean, all that's playing is a piano playing the same notes that I'm playing in the lead part. And as well, I have a violin. Or a string ensemble, whatever. I don't even know what it is. The Contact 7. I think I have Gojira's, again, reverb or something like that. And the piano is just Addictive Keys by XLN Audio. I think I got this for free or something like that from like one of my interfaces or something like that. But with that said, I'm gonna loop this, and I'm gonna turn off the piano and the strings and just have the lead guitar play. And I'm gonna start adding them in. You can kind of see what it's doing there. Which even right here, I think is just a little bit too much. So I'm going to automate, bring this down just a little bit until the lead guitar kind of pokes out. I mean, it sounds good. Like with the guitar itself, it's just kind of just adding a little bit more ambient. So yeah, it's pretty much that. And then I guess next, the last thing I can do, this isn't nothing. I was just kind of going over some of like the drums, or like my actual acoustic drums. I have to tune them and stuff, but I was just trying to get like a good sound from them, which wasn't really the greatest. Oh yeah, what I was doing is I went from a space pair, which is like equidistant from each other from the sound source, which would be the snare, and then it's like you just kind of measure from the center of the snare to the tip of where the mic is, the mic capsule. And this one I did an XY, so it's like 45-degree angle, and then I think it's like 45 inches above the snare drum, just to get the full sound and equal, like, because you want, like, the snare is like your loudest source of the drum itself, so you want it right over the snare, or at least like kind of like set, like, yeah, kind of right over the snare. But essentially with the XY, there's no proximity effect, or not proximity. You don't really have any phase issues, so you get more of like kind of like a fuller sound, because you don't have any like delays from like the toms hitting one, like if you have the space pair hitting one side quicker than the other one. It's just like huge issues that I've had with like recording live drums before. So I was kind of just experimenting with the XY, and honestly I like this better. And then it's just like a matter, like, again, like my drums weren't tuned. I mean, the last time I recorded was maybe like 2 months ago, so I haven't really like touched them since. So this is just kind of just like warming up and everything like that, and just kind of just going through and just mixing and all that stuff. There's like an Audix D6 on my kick drum, right at the inside the porthole, face a little bit offset of the beater. And then this has just like a little gate. And then some EQ. So first thing I always do is just gate. And then I have the Tominator, which is JST, which is nice because it's like every frequency that's not like the fundamental of the snare drum that you want to hit essentially gets mellowed out. It's like having like a high pass, or it's like a multi-band compressor. It's kind of the same trick, where you would have your higher frequency kind of tamed down or clamped down on the higher frequency, like your hi-hat and stuff, when the snare hit. So this kind of just takes care of it. And then just a little bit more of some EQ just to add. I added some brightness to it because it does kill the sound of it when you don't have it. A little bit more body as well. Not really compression, but this is with the XY. I'm gonna doesn't sound bad. So just high pass frequency, all the low end, a little bit of rumble coming out, or like the sound of the shells, I guess, from the toms. And then I have some compression, just hitting that just the snare, just to kind of just help bring everything down. And then Angie Sheps's Omni channel, full EQ. I think I changed a couple frequencies, but just kind of just gets you started. I mean, like the compressor's not even like hitting either, so I mean, makes it sound fuller. And then saturation. Kind of gives like that brightness back. And then with the samples, but yeah, nothing going on there. I'm I'm gonna end up like getting rid of this and naturally like record. What's up, dude? Not much. I'm about to finish up. I was just kind of doing like a little audio recording sesh until you got on. But all right on. Yeah. Hey, you want to check out my channel real quick and see this fucking tight ass song I'm recording? YouTube. Well, let me get your input on it. Sounds pretty dope though. It's all good. Yeah, YouTube. Having a full on conversation, you're like, hello? It's just like not even hearing it. Yeah, let me know when you're on. Surprisingly, this only took this past couple of days to record. Like the pretty much the weekend. Pretty good. You ready? All right, take a gander at this. You can hear it, right? Okay, good. Dude, if I did the... Oh, fuck. That would have sucked if, like, I'm sitting here, like, explaining all my stuff and they can't hear, like, the audio. I did it is? Okay, yeah, 'cause I did, like, a record. I recorded just to make sure everything worked. No. I guess not. I'm just talking to myself. Oh no, I had the repeater on. It's not done. I have like a little bit more to record. What do you think? What would you think? Hell yeah. Did Discord just like take a crap? Oh. Wait, what? You cut out a little bit. What? Hello? Hello? I don't know. Yeah, it keeps cutting in and out. Oh. All right, hold on. All right. Well, yeah, that was my my music stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you on the next time. Stop streaming. Oh, do you like my I forgot, dude. Do you like my my